Today, I struggled with an old and persistent trading demon, the urge to cut my trade as soon as it got into profit. I want to share with you why it's important to hold for the full target and a few things that I've done to make that easier. I also had a little bit of a mini trading milestone today that I'll share later. But first, let's check out the trade I took. Okay, let's check out this trade that I took today. Another strategy A setup today. Today it was a short, yesterday it was a long. If you're interested in that strategy, I have a free guide to it on my Buy Me a Coffee page. Link is in the description. Basically, so what we're looking for is like one of these big moves on the NASDAQ, a small pullback to the MA, and then trend continuation. Um, I had to take this trade. Yeah, I flipped over to the Dow quickly to be like, what's that doing? Like, I would have any way to interpret that because I don't normally do that. Um, but yeah, so I took this trade at a 24-point target on it. I'm not sure the points on my stop, but it was a $64 risk. This one was hard for me to hold. I watched the trade. I wanted to bail for 10 points. I wanted to move my stop to break even, but I forced myself to hold. The trade won. And I'm really glad that I held because it went down another 50 points. And that is the kind of thing that would have really set me off before is to bail early on the trade and then watch it not only hit my target, but then keep going. So I'm glad that I held. In trades like that where I'm like having to focus on holding my trade, I don't know if I'm the only one. I just wanted to know, am I the only one that gets like Kenny Rogers in their head when this is happening? Like you gotta know when to hold them. I'm not gonna keep singing, I promise. But that always like that just that chorus of that song always comes into my head when I'm like really struggling to hold a trade. If you are not an American or a Canadian, and you are not familiar with the song, I'm going to put it in the description. I think it's uh well, it's called The Gambler, right? So obviously there's going to be a lot of parallels to trading, but I feel like it's the only song that I hear that just makes me think of trading. So just thought I'd share that. The number one thing for me was back testing. I back tested my strategies based on holding for the full target, not on bailing out at random points. So if I'm not holding for my full targets, then my system is less likely to make money or it's less likely to live up to what I've, seen it do in back testing. The next thing is that it builds trust in the plan. I don't trust my plan yet. I don't trust my strategies yet. I've back tested them, but I've never had the discipline to actually implement them and implement them properly. So, holding for my targets helps me to build confidence in my setups. Probably the most important thing here is that it keeps me away from going on tilt. When I cut a trade early and then I watch it go and hit my target and keep going, I am so much more likely to just jump right into a revenge trade, a FOMO trade. I don't know what it would be, but I get so angry and I just want to make it back right now. So for me, it's really about keeping myself out of that tilt danger zone as much as I possibly can. And the last thing is the confidence. This was another strategy A trade. That's 2 in a row this week that I've won, and I think that every time I hold for my full TP, it kinda builds on or adds another layer of confidence or trust in the plan for me. So I think the first step has gotta be just practicing holding your trades. Start small and build confidence. Set realistic targets for yourself. I would love to have my trades all be like 5 to 1. And I've back tested 2 to 1 and that worked out well. But for me, I found that 1.5 to 1 was kind of that sweet spot where my winners are bigger than my losers and I'm actually able to hold. So figure out what that is for you. Maybe you start with 1 to 1 or a points goal for each trade. I don't know. Just set some realistic targets and then try to start implementing and practicing that. Next is to trust your back testing. Remind yourself why you have that target, why it is where it is. Um, Cleaner stats. This is huge for me. I've back tested my strategy. It does well in back testing, but then somehow when I go to trade it, I'm losing money. So that always came down to taking random trades or not sticking to the plan. So I want to stick to the plan so I can actually get proper stats on my strategies. A huge one for me is to scale down the risk. So trade a small enough size that you're not bothered by the amount that you're stopped out. So today my risk was $64 on that trade. I'm fine with losing $64. I think basically right now I'm like anything under 100, $110, I don't care. I'm okay to lose it. So figure out what that number is for you and what makes sense for your account and then size down to that. Again, patience. It's always patience. Our edges are a long-term thing. So we need to have the patience in the short term to wait for our setups and to hold for our targets. But then we also need to have the long-term patience to actually see it through over 100 trades. So patience again. Detach from the outcome. This is really big for me. I still struggle with this. Um, I still struggle with everything. It's all a work in progress. But I really think sizing down has helped me in detaching from the outcome and then trying to zoom out and look at the bigger picture and not just this trade. Try to look at it as an experiment, as a series of trades, just anything to get you away from that mindset of this one trade is make or break. Because maybe sometimes that'll go well for you, but then other times it's going to send you on tilt and to blown accounts and just where we don't want to be going. The other thing is to journal. So write about the urge, write down, what you're feeling in the trade, and then journal about how you feel when you do cut the trades early. I wrote in my journal today, like I said, this looks like it's going to be a loser. Maybe my stop is too tight. So it's just like all this sort of like doubt that comes in as soon as I put the trade on. Um, but then I also said, like, I want to bail on this. I want to just take 10 points, and be done for the week, like have a winner on a Friday instead of risking something. But then I just had to remind myself that the risk is only $64 and I need to see how my system actually works and how it actually plays out. Okay, this does not seem like a big milestone, but it definitely was something for me today. It is my birthday, and this is the first year since I started trading that on my birthday, I traded in a calm and relaxed way. I had a winning trade and I closed it up for the day. In the previous years, my birthday has been a disaster trading and it's just ruined the day. I came into today feeling superstitious, like maybe I don't even want to trade because of how it always has tended to go. But I just decided that I needed to be mindful of my risk. Don't size up, stick with 2 micros. If a trade comes up that's your setup and it has a really big stop, scale down to 1 micro. And then also, the other huge thing, which is always huge for me, is to stick to the one trade a day rule. If I only take one trade a day and I'm not over leveraged on the trade, then the loss isn't a big deal. So I knew that sticking with those rules, it couldn't go horribly wrong. The worst that could happen would be I'd lose $100 and oh well, I come back on Monday. This was a hard trade for me to hold, but I think those are the trades that really shape discipline. And I think it helps us to look at it that way in like a working out this muscle of holding our trades, this working out these discipline muscles and practice and experimentation and not, the I want money now or I want this trade to win or I want a payout. Really just focusing on that, focusing on the process. It's not just about points, it's about building trust in your strategy and protecting your mindset and your mental health and your emotions. I have had So much less mood swings and just emotional ups and downs since I started really focusing on discipline and since I sized down. So, again, I'm going to harp on those things. Sorry. Also, sorry about my voice today. I have a new microphone here. It's not the microphone making me sound this way. I'm sick. So, that's what's going on with my voice. Thank you for watching the video. If you liked it, leave me a like, comment, subscribe. If you don't know the song I was referencing earlier, the link to it is in the description. Go and check it out. Yeah, I feel like I could have just done a video like breaking down the song and how it applies to trading because I always think like, and it also says like know when to walk away and know when to run. Like to me, I think obviously that's trading because know when to walk away, know when to run, and then never count your money when you're sitting at the table. I feel like that comes into my head when I'm in a trade and you're seeing it. It's unrealized profits and you're seeing the money and you're thinking it's your money, but then I always think no, like never count your money when you're sitting at the table. Like as long as I'm still trading, it's not my money. Don't count it. Okay, sorry for that aside here. I hope you all have a really good weekend, and I will see you back on Monday.